Good morning. We're so excited to be here today. My name is Karen Dyer, and I am the Vice President for Advancement and Strategic Initiatives, and I'm so happy to be here as we share the growth of the college and how we are aspiring higher. Today you're going to hear from President Dottie King about her vision for the future, a new master plan, and how our planning is leading to a strong, measured growth of the college. You'll then hear from Dr. Janet Clark and a special virtual guest, Dr. Lamprini Pantazzi, who will talk about how the Woods is expanding our long tradition of leadership education to a global level. So let me give you a little context before Dr. King comes up. This all started with a charge from President King in 2015 to put in place a plan to grow the college, out of which came the Aspire Higher strategic plan. And now we like to say we've moved on to aspiring even higher. Since that time, a strategic plan committee of about 40 faculty and staff have been working together to strategically grow the college through an emphasis in 3 pillars: academics, environment, and awareness, all of which is threaded through with an emphasis on enrollment growth and our Catholic identity. Most recently, the college completed a master plan with Edge Architects and MKC Architects. We owe much thanks to Tim Skinner from Edge, Jessica Horscuddy, and Matthew Teasman from MKC. Over the past year, we've worked really hard to consider the college needs for physical space as we grow our living and learning community, establish a robust athletics district, and preserve our historic campus as well as the beauty of our natural setting. We looked at land, building, and space utilization, the historic features of our campus and our buildings, and our open green spaces as we considered what we were going to do for our master plan. All of that led to a planning framework which brings us here today. And at this point, I would like to hand it over to President Dottie King.
Well, thank you for being here. 11 years ago when I became president, we talked about plans, but they were pretty short-term plans because it was about figuring out exactly where we were as an institution and strengthening ourselves. With the co-education decision, things began to change fairly quickly at St. Mary of the Woods College, and we launched our strategic planning process. As Karen alluded, so many folks on campus are involved with that process, and I think that makes it a really strong document because the voice isn't a top-down voice. It's an inclusive voice. It brings lots of perspective and points of view to the table. When we launched the Aspire Higher strategic planning process, we didn't know that we would be able to be successful fairly quickly. So within 3 years, we were ready to declare that phase of the strategic plan a success and relaunch. So for 2 years, we've been putting together the next phase of our forward look, and we have called it the Aspire Even Higher plan, and it now included a real comprehensive look at the facilities. You might ask why we would look so closely at our facilities. First of all, if you look at the historic buildings around us, this is a new one, but the historic buildings around us, you can easily see the grandeur and beauty and then the legacy that goes along with that. At the same time, they come with them lots of deferred maintenance needs, so lots of things we need to do to those buildings in order to make them fitting for today's environment. So we looked at all of those buildings. Additionally, we have purchased land and moved from being a 65-acre campus to a 311-acre campus. And we needed to look forward. What does the new land mean, and what will it mean in the future? So the Board of Trustees asked me to put together a 5-year plan, a 10-year plan, and then a beyond that plan. It was really a year-long exercise for me, and I'm telling you, 5 years was fairly easy, and 10 years wasn't too bad. But when I thought beyond that and started thinking about my own age and what year it would be, and what guesses or conjectures I was making about the future and what it would look like, that became a little daunting, and therefore my plan became a lot more general than specific. So I'm going to give you some of the details that are coming out of what we're doing, both our strategic plan and then our facilities master plan, and what you might see at St. Mary of the Woods College as we look forward. First of all, I've mentioned the older buildings. We have projects going on in most of them. We're also completing a residence/dining hall this summer, and that will be the first new residence hall on this campus since 1924. Let that sink in for a minute. That's the first new residence hall on this campus since 1924. Our beloved LaFair Hall is still a very popular building, and we still have full access to it, but we could now see the time when we would outgrow that building and have the need for another. And I can tell you, I reported to the Board of Trustees, I can envision a third residence hall in our future. So I do believe that we're going to see ourselves grow in number. Part of that growth is athletics. So lots of you have been here as we've announced additions of new teams. We are very excited to bring men's basketball this fall, and we have already announced that for fall of 22 we will be adding men's volleyball. I am also looking forward at what other offerings might we add as we try to develop our outdoor athletic spaces. There are things we don't have. We don't have a baseball diamond, we don't have a track and field, we don't even have competition tennis courts. So we're looking at those things. How can we add those? So I think that within the next 5 years you should expect us to see us adding tennis. I think we have a strong possibility for swimming and diving. We're looking at competitive cheer, and there just might be a surprise or two, because when opportunities come our way, we look them over, and there might be a great opportunity headed our way that we're not yet aware of. I also believe that we will continue to expand our academic offerings. Dr. Clark is going to come forward. I don't want to steal her thunder, but we've made significant growth in our academic area, strategically adding new programs that meet the needs of today's students and that fit well with our mission. Those two things have to happen at the same time. They have to fit well with something we can deliver with distinction and be relevant to today's students. So we're continuing to push that envelope too. And then of course we share this beautiful campus with the Sisters of Providence. So we're looking at how might we flow our traffic, make our entrances look, and make it a great space for both of us. So within the next 10 years, I think that we will add another residence hall, and I think that it would have a new dining component, so we'll be able to add dining diversity with the new building. I also think that within the next 10 years we would be looking at a major expansion of Holman Hall. It is now an L-shaped building, and the back of it becomes the de facto front because of how people park and enter the building. And so if you can imagine finishing off the back of the L with a U, and the building would almost have two fronts then. And I think that building would accommodate our health science growth that we project going forward. So I think you would see that. We're also taking a strong look at our equestrian area. Maybe you know this, maybe you don't, but there are 38 colleges in the state of Indiana. 4 of them have anything to do with horses, and all 4 of those have teams. 2 of us offer academic programs in equestrian area, and only 1 of us offers baccalaureate degrees in equine. So St. Mary of the Woods College has the distinction of being the only college in Indiana that has 3 academic majors centered around the horses. And you may not be aware of this. When you think of horses, you often think of Kentucky, but Indiana has a $3 billion equestrian industry in our state. So we're well poised to partner with the state of Indiana and the horse associations within Indiana and grow our program. So we are strategically looking for those partnerships, and recently are about to announce the hiring of a new leader in our equestrian area and a new program that will come about. And I'm in lots of conversations with people in the horse world in the state of Indiana, so I think you'll see that area grow for us. I think we're going to show some slides here off of our master plan. Some things I would point out from this slide, we're going to be very intentional. When you take a look down the avenue, most of us feel that that's a magical look. We think it's beautiful, and our students tell us that it's often their moment when they decide that same area of the Woods College is the right fit for them. They've even dubbed it the Avenue Moment. And so we're taking a look at beyond the spirituality and the atmosphere that we think adds to that moment, what else adds to that, and how can we preserve it? And we've come to believe that one of the things that really adds to it is that your eyes are pulled all the way down the avenue in an uninterrupted way by buildings that are too close. So we're going to be, with intentionality, keep the buildings back from the avenue, and we're going to preserve that green space and that look for the iconic avenue that is so much a part of the same area of the Woods College. And so if you can look at this, you'll see that you'll see some new ideas of where residence halls might go. They're in the yellow. And then blue is academic, possible academic expansion, where we might put that. And then the red is, believe it or not, this is our newest building on campus until that residence hall opens, and we're also already looking at expanding this building out of need, the growth of athletics. When this building was built, we were still a women's college, and guess what we didn't put in? Any men's locker rooms. So right now we're making do with our 2 locker rooms, but we really believe we need 2 more to continue our growth in athletics. So we are actively fundraising, and it's going pretty well, so I think very soon we'll be poised to start the expansion, which you can see in red on the master plan. So this is pretty short term. These will all be phased. One of those residence halls is in progress. That expansion is in progress. The other blue is more into the future. The second new residence hall, you'll see how they're going to form a quadrangle with one another by design, and but that's into the future. And then the expansion on Holman Hall, I think, is closer rather than farther away. So that's giving you my idea of a timeline, but notice I didn't really commit to too much there on an exact time. We also have a slide we're going to show you about athletics and what it might look like. We have purchased 90 acres that are adjacent to our current outdoor athletic facilities, and we now are envisioning how that might all shape up out there. So as you're looking at this, I don't know how close or far you are, but softball might be readily apparent even if you're not close, just because of the shape of the diamond. So we already have softball, and we already have the soccer field, so those are in place. You can see the parking lot that is to the east of the soccer field. We will be putting that in this summer. For the time being, it will be a gravel lot as we establish a bed for a parking lot, but that is going to alleviate some parking stresses that we're already feeling on campus, and it will also give our guests who visit our athletic events a place to park without pulling off into the grass. So that will happen this summer. But you can see some ideas we have about laying out the future of athletics, because we don't know which facility will come first, because you never quite know which donor might come along and what interests might happen. But what we want is a plan so that we don't put things the wrong place. And like I've already learned, that the baseball diamond has to face a certain way, because you don't face it the wrong way, you've got to face it the right way. So all of those things that we have to take into consideration. If you can see, adjacent to the kind of down from the softball field, we're looking at putting a possible driving range in. We have that land there, and it would be a really inexpensive thing to do, to put a driving range in, which would allow our men's and women's golf teams to practice on campus some days a week instead of going to a golf course. So those are some of the plans that have come out of a lot of discussion with our master plan. And I think there might be one more slide, I'm not sure, but we have also purchased land east of campus. So this is the same athletic slide you just saw. It's just now enlarged to show the rest of the property. We own north all the way to the Bolton Road, and then it hangs to the east, and that's the piece you're seeing here. And then across from the north gate, we own 85 acres. So we're talking about everything from an equestrian event space that would be great for collegiate events, but also really great for the state of Indiana, which has a need for this mid-range event space. We're also looking at a camping space because people who come for these weekend-long equestrian events often live out of their trailers and look for camping spots, and us creating that grounds. And so we're really looking to enhance the Vigo County plan. I spent time as a community leader, someone that really believes that we all need to do our best for our community. I spent a lot of time thinking, what does St. Mary of the Woods College have to offer that's different from Indiana State University, different from Ivy Tech, different from Rose-Hulman, but is our part of building our region? And I really believe that that answer could be several things, not just one thing, but one of them is our equestrian department and the experiences we might be able to provide. So we are working with community leaders about how that might fit into the West Central 2025 plan, the CU and Terre Haute plan, and then at the state level I'm having discussions, how does that fit with this plans for the state of Indiana. So that gives you an idea of the vision that we have for the future. Excuse me. I do believe that St. Mary of the Woods College is an institution on the grow, and I do believe that what has caused this to happen is not one thing, it's many things. And not the least of which is the belief that exists among the people who work here. Bringing people together. People have worked here for a long time, or sometimes not very long, and they believe in this place and its potential. And I believe that we've really thought of ourselves differently in recent years. You heard me talk about an outreach. We're thinking about that differently. What do we have to offer to students of the future, both in our region and beyond? And then what do we have to offer to our community? And I think if you put all of those things together and put Providence on top of that, which is a nice word for God, I think St. Mary of the Woods College is being blessed with growth. We've grown pretty steadily, no big spikes, but pretty steadily since 2015 in all of our areas. So our traditional campus program, our online program, and our graduate areas. And we've grown sometimes in spite of the odds. We grew during the pandemic year by 11%, and we're looking at really strong numbers for this fall, and that's not necessarily the case everywhere. So I really believe we have a compelling story to tell. I think we have a rich experience for students of today and the future. I think there's a lot of reason for enthusiasm. I feel nothing but gratitude. I'm going to close my part with, I'm not going to say the quote because I'll do it wrong, but I'm a collector of quotations that mean something to me, and they come from everywhere. They come from noted people on leadership, historic people like Mother Theodore, and Babe Ruth. I mean, I'm very eclectic. If it speaks to me, I collect it. And one of my favorites that I bring out, and I have a place where I put them where I can see them at my desk, is about a misty image of a better future. And it's a fuller quote than that, but that's my key, those are the key phrases for me, a misty image of a better future. And I think what I love about that so much, it's really easy to see what we would all love about a better future. We all want a better future. But what I really love about the misty image is the willingness to embrace misty images out in the future and walk toward them and explore and let them come into focus and let them fade away if they aren't becoming right for you, and leading us that way. In other words, there's an element of faith involved. And I really like the image, the misty image of a better future for St. Mary of the Woods College, because I believe it's always been an institution that relied heavily on providence, and an institution that was willing to innovate and take risks, and that is Misty. And so I am going to close my part with that and introduce Dr. Janet Clark, and she's going to talk a little bit more about what's going on in our academic area. I tried not to steal too much of that. Dr. Clark.
Thank you, Dr. King. Let's see if I can strategically place my papers here. It's my notes. I appreciate the opportunity today to share a little bit more about the specifics that are happening and growing in the academic, as well as a little bit about our student affairs area. Among many of the roles that happen in academic affairs, reviewing existing and thinking about growing new academic programs is most especially key in order to attract, retain, graduate today's students and students who want to be at the Woods. We have to know what they're interested in, as well as we have to keep track of what does the world need. What are the employment trends? What are the things that are rapidly changing in today's workforce? So oftentimes, investments that we have within the college or external partners help us grow and create these new and exciting academic programs. They help provide us startup costs for equipment, renovate facilities, as well as add new faculty and add marketing dollars so we can attract those students. So we're often blessed with those external partners, and namely I'm going to mention the Lilly Endowment Corporation quite a bit today. About 6 years ago, St. Mary of the Woods College was able to add a nursing program, and we did this through a grant from the Lilly Endowment. This was our first major step into the health professions or health sciences, and it rapidly became one of the biggest programs on our campus. And it has contributed to what Dottie has said, that significant sustained enrollment growth, not a spike. So then we continue to listen to student interest as well as conduct market research, and the institution is continuing to expand into other health science areas. The paramedic science associate degree was added last year, and we're already thinking about how can that type of program bridge into nursing. Again, we see students who are interested in that, and that's what the field is needing. Additionally, our health and wellness program was strengthened and morphed into kinesiology, which is all about more human movement. And now we're going to even go a little bit further, and again, through a gift from the Lilly Endowment, expand kinesiology to include exercise science, adding that more specific curriculum for folks who want to go into graduate school in athletic training or physical therapy. So these external dollars that we receive from Lilly help us again expand some facilities. We're going to be doing some renovations in Holman Hall that will create those lab spaces and classrooms for the kinesiology and the exercise science program. Student interest is very high. We've already seen that student interest into kinesiology, and we expect that to continue to grow for the exercise science, especially among our athletes. So as I mentioned, the funding is going to help us add faculty lines, the renovations in Holman Hall, and those external marketing dollars. Additionally, when you add new programs, you have to also keep track of whether your students are staying. Are they successful? Are you retaining them? Do they have the services they need to be successful, socially, emotionally, intellectually, and to complete their program? So we are very excited to have the opportunity to collaborate with 5 other institutions across Indiana in a retention grant, a huge retention initiative, and again, funded by the Lilly Endowment. Being able to figure out whether your students are satisfied and can complete, what barriers are causing them to have to step out, whether it's socially or behaviorally, or whether it's money or jobs. Being able to understand where they fall or where they need those extra supports will enable them to complete their academic journey and complete their degree. So again, that helps both the institution as well as the students. So we're going to be able to take that deep dive into retention with this grant. We have a second collaborative grant with 2 other institutions in Indiana to add to our mental health initiatives and our mental health services. Again, key pieces to help that student be successful. So as I said, we're really excited to dig really deep into both of those and add those services that are ultimately going to help sustain our enrollment and graduate our students. Lastly, then I want to introduce the most exciting piece that Dr. King alluded to. We're extremely excited to be able to add to the institution a new degree level. This will be the first time St. Mary of the Woods College has been able to add a Ph.D. program. We have received the approval from our accreditor that says that we are ready to take this next step and offer this level of advanced degree that's going to build upon the success we've had from our master's program. Additionally, with the adding of the Ph.D. program, that opens the door for us to add additional terminal degree or doctoral level programs. And thinking a little strategically, we believe we will announce our second doctoral level program within the next 5 years. What that will be, we don't know yet. As Dottie said, we like to let that kind of come to us as we figure out areas that we would think would be attractive and know that we would be successful with and fit our mission. So I'm excited to talk about and introduce our guest today, who's going to talk about this new Ph.D. degree. Besides educating leaders, we're going to be educating leaders in a rapidly changing world, and we're going to be adding to the research about how leadership is evolving in this rapidly changing world where we're grappling with many issues today. So I'm very excited to see how this program rolls out in the next few years. And it's my pleasure then to introduce Dr. Lamprini Pantazzi, who is the Dean of Business and Leadership for St. Mary of the Woods College and the Director of the new Ph.D. in Global Leadership. Lamprini.
Can you hear me? Yes. Well. Καλημέρα από την Αθήνα, από την Ελλάδα. Είμαι στην Ακρόπολη, δίπλα στον Παρθενώνα και σας καλωσορίζω στη χώρα μου. Τη γενέτειρα της ηγεσίας, της δημοκρατίας, της φιλοσοφίας, της ελευθερίας του λόγου, του θεάτρου. Good evening from Athens, Greece. I'm in Acropolis, next to the Parthenon, and I welcome you to my country, the birthplace of leadership, democracy, philosophy, freedom of speech, theater. I'm so excited to be joining you today from this beautiful place and talk about the first Ph.D. program at St. Mary of the Woods College, a Ph.D. program in global leadership. This was a natural step for us. It's in an alignment with a strategic planning, with our goal to gain university status soon, and also with all this experience that we have with the MLD program, the Masters of Leadership Development, the Wabash Valley Leadership Institute, the Graduate Certificate in Women's Leadership, and so many other initiatives of leadership at St. Mary of the Woods College. 2 years ago, I asked Dr. Jenny Mitchell, Emerita Professor at St. Mary of the Woods College, to meet me at a cafe in Terre Haute, and of course she came immediately. I share her my dream, which is a reality today, and thank her for that. I believe she's somewhere there in the audience. And I share with her that I would love to help creating, developing the first Ph.D. program in global leadership. And she was thrilled. The next step was to put together a very strong proposal because we needed grant money for starting this program. As soon as this grant from Lilly was secured, we formulate Ph.D. advisory boards, and more members joined us, Dr. Dan Hills, Dr. Vicky Gordon, Dr. Kim Lakomba, who later got employed at St. Mary of the Woods College as a leadership program specialist. And of course, there From the first moment, our idea wasn't to add another PhD program in global leadership, not even to differentiate from our competitors. We wanted to develop something unique, and that's what I'm going to discuss today. I'm going to talk about the elements that make this program unique. The first one is the fact that the PhD program is developed for scholars, for academics, and for professionals, for practitioners at the same time. In this complex world, and pandemic taught us that very well, you cannot have the research detached from the industry, from the organizations, from the non-for-profit world for different sectors, and vice versa. That's why we built this program having in mind that those two worlds have to work together, and then all of us will thrive. The second component which makes this program unique is the fact that we focus on the strengths of the individuals. And what I mean by that, already all the faculty of PhD, the regular faculty and the adjunct faculty have already taken the Strengths Finder. It's a psychometric tool which basically reveals the 5 greatest, most dominant strengths of an individual. And along with the addition of other information like research interest, experiences, teaching experience, working experience, we created some user personas. And it's like an academic identity with all the essential information. What we will do is to create the exact user personas for all the students who are going to be admitted in the program. And we will do that for 2 reasons. The first one is that we want to match each one of the students with a mentor from the beginning of the program, and they will stay with them throughout the program to support them, guide them, and so forth. The second reason is because we are going to formulate a lot of groups and group projects, and we want to use this diversity of strengths in formulating these groups, because then we will achieve the maximum of the performance of the participants of the group. The third component has to do with our intention to bring the international and cultural exposure in the greatest degree for our students. And a lot of PhD programs in global leadership have some study abroad trips, but in this case, even if this program is virtual, it's an immersive one. Students will have multiple opportunities to travel around the world, and also we will add virtual trips. So they will be exposed in multiple trips in every year. Some in person, 1 or 2 will be in person, and some others in virtual format. Right now, I'm in Greece, and I enjoy the Greek food, the weather, Acropolis, the Greek islands, but at the same time, I identify scholars, academics, with a strong background in organizational psychology. Faculty who have a long experience in advising dissertations, statisticians who are financial restriction to be a factor that will keep any student behind. That's why we have budgeted $2,500 for each one of our students. And this is a development fund. Everyone will be able to participate at least in one trip or go overseas for a conference. So as you can understand, all these process is very intentional with a cultural component. We thought a lot of things in the beginning 2 years ago, and then the pandemic comes, and now everyone understands how important global leadership is, and also how we are, every one of us, we're directly related to global leadership. A small decision in an isolated area can affect our countries, our lives, our communities, our families and kids. So we want to build a strong international global leadership community, and we will share all the knowledge, the experience, and we will do that ethically. I would like, just by closing in my remarks, to point out a couple more things. The first one is that there are no hidden fees in this program. There is a cost per credit hour for the 60 credit hour program, and also a small one-time fee for the dissertation. Everything is included. The textbooks, the softwares, the statistical packages, and of course the $2,500, the professional development fund for our students. I want to close with something that one of my students mentioned, because I meet so many prospective students right now, and actually if you have any questions or concerns, please email me at lfantasia@smwc.edu, and I will be more than happy to set up a Zoom meeting with you, and maybe it will be next to a beautiful site, as I am today, or next to the beach, who knows. And I can discuss with you all the details. But that specific prospective student said, Prini, I think that I always believed that St. Mary of the Woods College is a hidden gem. And I'm so glad that the last few years is not anymore. And I want to point out that whatever we do in this school, we do that with love for our students, and we do that as a group. It's a teamwork, and we have great support from the leadership, from President King, from Dr. Johnny Clark, and all the rest of the leadership team. And we're so excited. Even when we go with crazy ideas, they support us, and now crazy ideas become a reality. Thank you for your time, and I hope you enjoyed the view of the apartment.
Thank you, Lamprini. We're still jealous that you're there and we're not. Well, I guess we took you all to Greece. How often will that happen today? I thank you for coming, but that's not the end. If anyone has questions, I know you've received materials, you've heard information from us, and we're ready to entertain your questions now. This is what it feels like if you teach mathematics, by the way. I always want to let you know, I did that for a lot of years, and this is what it feels like. Everybody's looking down like, no, you've got nothing. Okay, for those of you here with the media, I'd be happy to answer questions individually if you prefer. So thank you for being here. We're excited at St. Mary of the Woods College, and we're moving forward.